Alright guys, before we get into today's video, I have things I want to say. There is another channel by the name of House Billings that I want you guys to go check out for me. They are trying to get to 10,000 subscribers, and I actually found them quite some time ago, but what really got me interested was he had made a video recently talking about the fact that I was using the name Arowana Grande. I had no clue that he had come up with that name. Somebody had just commented that, asking me to name the Arowana Grande, and I thought it was a clever name, so I started using it. No clue that somebody else was already using the name, but hey, the fact that he came up with the name, it's super clever, and I have to give credit where credit is due. This is my credit to House Billings. Please go check out their channel. I'll make sure I link a card right up here for you guys so you can find them. With all of that, let's get into today's video. Hey, what's going on everybody? Well, we're back for another video today, and today it's actually going to be a special video. So little Max Roberts' birthday was the other day, and we went out to an animal show yesterday, and I let Max pick out his birthday present. It's something he's wanted for a really long time. And actually, the funny thing is Max and I's birthday are actually on the exact same day. We also share the same birthday as my oldest brother. So it's my oldest brother, me, and Max all share the same birthday. So for me, it kind of was terrible growing up because I never had my own birthday. My older brother was always there, and now Max is always there, but I wouldn't rather share my birthday with anybody else other than little Max Robert. All right, well, with all that, let's go ahead and get into this build today, and little Max Robert is gonna take us through this journey of setting up this cage, giving you some facts and things. So let's get into this today.
Thanks for coming to watch this video. Smash that subscribe button. We're gonna start with decompressing this block of coconut fiber. This is gonna be our base level of our substrate. So we have a bucket of jungle mix and a bucket of coconut fiber, and we're gonna mix these both together in one of these 5-gallon buckets. This coconut fiber is wet because you have to decompress this so it comes to be like this from the block I showed you earlier. So now we got it mixed up, we are gonna put it in a tank.
So on this build, what we're gonna start with is a 20-gallon long tank, and this particular animal is going to require a heat transfer pad. This is a Zoomed under the tank heater. So this is actually going to be an adhesive backing here, and we're gonna be able to take this off and just stick this right to the bottom of the tank. We kind of want to just right about there is good. So we'll just go ahead and stick that right there.
We got the substrate in, and we're now putting plants in, and cork, a water bowl.
Well, as Max is playing with his new animal, we're gonna go ahead and continue some of this scape. All right, we're gonna go ahead and add some plants to this enclosure. I will let you know now, these are not necessarily native plants to where this particular animal comes from. And in fact, we'll talk about where this guy comes from here in just a little while. This right here is called an arrowhead plant. And then we're gonna go ahead and also add in a false Aralia, and then just an ivy. So these particular plants have a wicking system on them, and if you notice, I have some aquatic plants on here too. Those can't go in there. These have wicking systems on them, and these particular plants actually like to be really saturated, their soil very saturated. So we're gonna plant these kind of in the same general area where we can keep these plants saturated and constantly wet. So they're gonna stay up in this area of the tank kind of over here. We have our heat pad on this side, so we want the substrate to be a little bit lower, and that will keep this little guy completely warm. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and start by burying some of these plants, and we're gonna bury them right into the cups, just simply because, like I said, we want them to hold as much moisture as possible, and this particular substrate is gonna help with that. So we're gonna go ahead and add this bigger plant right back here in the back, and we're gonna go ahead and set this thing pretty much right down on the glass underneath all of the substrate. This gives us the ability to saturate this, and most of the water will remain on the bottom of the glass and allow this to wick it up into its root ball. We're gonna add some of these stones in here as well to kind of give a little bit of a natural riverbed kind of bank appearance. Not that this really goes together, but these are some leftover supplies we've had from other builds that we're gonna go ahead and use. So now what we're gonna do is go ahead and come up here and start backfilling some of this area up here with some of this cypress mulch, which is really good to help maintain the moisture in this substrate. And we can kind of mix it up because we kind of want it to look natural. We're not really trying to make this look like it's a garden or anything like that. So mix it up with kind of the substrate a little bit, just where it's kind of showing out a little tiny bit. And honestly, I'm not a professional scaper by any means when it comes to these particular types of animals. In fact, this is the first time we've ever owned this particular type of animal. However, you know, I know where they come from, so I know kind of what it looks like. So I'm hoping that this kind of gives it, now granted, these are not natural plants occurring in this particular animal's habitat. These are in fact tropical plants, but the reason we're using these tropical plants is because they are low light, low tech. As long as you keep the soil very saturated, you don't really have to do much with these guys. So, all right, well, our first level here is kind of done. We're gonna add this plant as well, but kind of down here in the corner, I believe, is where we're gonna do it. Or we may add it right here, I don't know yet. We'll kind of see as we go. Or we may not add it at all, we may use it for something else. All right, we're gonna add some more substrate here, which is a mixture, once again, of jungle mix and coconut fiber. And then we're also gonna add this piece of wood here. I don't remember what kind of wood this is. So we're gonna change this up just a little bit, just simply because he needs a hide. He will have perfect access right under here to get where he needs to go. So what we're gonna do is actually move this piece of wood. I'm gonna have the plant coming out about right here. So what that'll leave us to do is we're actually gonna place his water dish right about here, but we're actually gonna bury it a little bit. So we're gonna move some of the substrate out of the way here, which will give it a more naturalistic look. I'm gonna push these rocks out some. So we'll backfill some of this, some of the substrate. Well, we have everything set up. We have all of our plants. We're probably gonna add just a little bit more of this mulch, but we got his water dish, and there's rocks and some cork for a big hide with some wood and all kinds of things. I think he's gonna love this enclosure. So now all that's left is finish up a couple little things, get this thing hooked up to a thermostat. What do you got there, buddy?
I got our new snake.
Our new snake. And what kind of snake is he?
He's a corn snake.
And what do you want to name him?
I actually don't know, so can you guys comment down below a name for him?
What were you thinking about naming him though?
Gerald, but I don't know. I'll let you guys name him.
Perfect. All right, well, go ahead and get Gerald, or unnamed snake, in there and go ahead and get him into his new enclosure. Goes Gerald right there into his hide immediately. Perfect. Great job, Gerald. All right, well, hopefully you guys like this new enclosure for this little guy. So what we're gonna do is just add a couple more little elements to this enclosure, just some pieces of wood and things like that, just to kind of give it a more naturalistic look. Some of this green sphagnum moss.
Two weeks later.
It's been about 2 weeks actually since we set this up and that first segment of that video was filmed. So what we're looking for right now is to find little Gerald, or whatever you guys decide to name him, and it looks like we have found him here. We can see him right there, burrowed down in the dirt, and he's doing fantastic. I think he may be in shed. I'm not really sure. I'm researching that now because he does have a little bit of milkiness to his eyes, and they've kind of turned a little bit of a blue color. So let me know in the comments if you know anything about corn snakes, but I think that he may actually be in shed. But he is a super cool little snake, and we're gonna get him out here in just a minute once he kind of calms down a little bit, because I have interrupted him. We have little, well, we're calling him Gerald because that's what Max wants to call him. But we're asking you guys, what do you think we should name this little guy? He's such a cool little snake. I mean, he is very much a great beginner snake. So what we wanted to do was get a cool little snake that Max could take care of easily and get over the fear of getting bit and those kinds of things. Because if this little guy bites, it's not going to do any kind of crazy damage, which means that, you know, it kind of gets you over that initial fear of being struck at. It is such a cool, pretty little snake and super easy to care for, not crazy requirements, definitely a really good first time snake. So this little guy is strictly eating frozen pinky mice at this point. He gets fed about once a week. This guy actually comes from the southeastern all the way into the south central part of the United States. It's also referred to as the red rat snake, but these guys like temperatures around 75 to 85 degrees with about a 10 to 15 degree drop during the night. And then as well as there's a brumation period where it's a little cooler and things of that nature. But they live in like kind of humid and dense foresty kind of areas. Hence the reason that we kind of set this up the way we did. He is such a small little guy that his weight is not causing a problem for the plants that are in there. And the plants actually allow him to climb because they are big climbers. They love to climb and stay up into trees and things of that nature. So what we will do is when we upgrade this guy as he starts to grow, we'll probably get him into at least a 40 gallon, but we'll have some trees in there for him to be able to climb up on. And in fact, I have a mesh top on the top of this enclosure, and there have been multiple times where I pull that mesh top off and he's actually curled around the lip of the tank. But super cool little snake, super easy to care for. They're pretty hardy. So it's a great first time snake for anybody that's looking for one. They're pretty docile too. They don't bite a whole lot. They will strike at you if you open up their enclosure and you go just digging your hands in there without like letting them know where you're at. Haven't had any issues with him biting or anything like that, but a super cool little snake. So I gotta give a shout out to Pyrotoad for helping us pick this guy out and set up the enclosure and things of that nature. So make sure you go and check out Pyrotoad. So you can kind of see him hanging out back there. He's just checking things out. So he'll actually climb up this arrowhead plant and kind of sit on top of these leaves, which is kind of cool. Well, hopefully you guys enjoy this new enclosure, and I know it's not fish related, and that's okay. Sometimes we're gonna step outside of the fish keeping to show you some of the other exciting things that we're doing around here. What we're standing in right here is the new fish room. We have this rack behind us that is set up currently, but we have another 100+ square foot over this way, and that is currently being built out so we can bring more content to you guys. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the content. And what I ask is just make sure you're subscribed and make sure you turn on your notification bell, because in the next couple of days, our next video is going to be coming out where these two buckets right here have a couple of different types of fish in it. We're gonna talk about what those are and where those are going, but our next video will be a pond video, possibly a breeding pond video. So make sure that you have that notification bell turned on so you don't miss the content that's coming out. I really appreciate it, guys. Make sure you drop a like on this video and make sure you comment below and let us know what you think little Max Robert should name his new corn snake. He thinks Gerald is a good name. I think it's a good name too. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. With all of that, I am grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you so very much for the support, and we will see you next time.